Well, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Okay, here I am sitting outside in front of my house waiting on my furniture to be delivered. And it's a nice morning. Oh my goodness, the weather, it feels so amazingly awesome. And I live near a walking park, so we're always seeing somebody walking and just, coming by and all that good stuff. So, I was 62 years old when I finally got my own place, post college days, I put it that way. And I'm loving it. It's been 2 years since I moved, and I'm finally purchased some new furniture for my bedroom. And I'm waiting on that now. But, living by myself, and it just gives me so much time to think and kind of put things together and become more intellectual. And one of the things that I was thinking about on this week is why a lot of men become impotent. Impotent. Y'all know what that means. ED, erectile dysfunction, and all of that. That is not just happening to older men these days. They're in my case, older men to me is like my age. Younger men are like 50s, all right, and in their 40s. And I can only talk about black men because, that's what I've had in my life. I've talked to men of other races and all of that, but as far as being intimate with them, I have not done that because I was married. And of course, I'm sanctified. I don't do that kind of stuff, premarital stuff. But anyway, this is what I learned. A lot of black men, especially truck drivers, they become impotent. And the reason being is because I've talked with them. I always ask questions. I don't have any problems asking people questions. And he said, I talked to one gentleman, he says, because he daydreams a lot and he watches a lot of pornography when he's on the road. Yeah. And, that's how he gets his release because, he said, look, I haven't been with a woman in like 2 years because he was separated from his wife and he didn't want to mess around until he got his divorce. And I respected him for that. I said, but you're a man, and you can be needing it more than women do. So what do? That's how I talk to people that way. And that's when he explained to me, he watches a lot of pornography and of course, he said he uses his hand. I said, okay, that's a lot of TMI, but I did ask him that. I did ask the man the question. So that's the answer that I got. And he said he watched it so much until it became such a part of him, and he just daydream and imagine the perfect woman that he's sleeping with. And he described to me his version of a perfect woman. And he's a black man, and this is very disturbing to me that most black men think that a really light-skinned woman with long hair and a big set of hips and thighs, that's the perfect woman. And that's what he would think about even when he uses the Victoria's Secret magazine, for his little play gear. Anyway, and he said, that's a perfect woman. And it got to the point where he couldn't be with a real woman because he was satisfying himself. And it's been like that for all of that time. He said he was just satisfying himself. He's out there on the road because he likes being out there. He's OTR, that means over the road. He's out there for months at a time. And he sleeps in his truck. And, he doesn't do the lot lizard thing and all of that. He doesn't have a lot of contact with humans. So that's what he does. And he said it's hard for him to kind of mate or get it up with a real woman. So he has a spirit wife. And a spirit wife is just what I described. That image he has in his mind of what's perfect. And that spirit that came from watching all of that pornography just got into him, because there's no way in the world that a real woman can do all this stuff that they're doing on these rated X movies. It's been on, oh goodness, at least 40 years since I've seen a rated X movie, but I can only imagine what kind of mess they're doing out there now. And to him, that's the perfect woman with the long nails, the eyelashes, the makeup, and the glamour, exactly the way they look in these pornographic movies. That's what he liked. And then next thing you know, he just couldn't get it up with a woman. So he's sticking with his spirit. I said, you just maybe you're the type of person that would have one of those plastic dolls or something. You know, I'm just keeping it real. I'm just being honest with y'all. This is like late night chat. And he just laughed about that because, you know, well, anyway, I found out later that he has 4 wives. He's been married 4 times. And he said the reason he been married so much is because he lose interest after 3 years. He gets bored with the real woman, the flesh and blood women like me and you. And, you know, he said he gets bored. He just gets bored with them. And he started out real big by buying him a nice house and all of that stuff and making all these promises to him. And he said, if you ask any of my wives, except for one, he said he has one who's deceased, you know. He said, if you ask any of them, they'll tell you the same thing about his roller coaster. He starts out big and then he just plummets, goes down. His interest in them, the part about being a big husband, he believed in paying all the bills, but he did not know how to be a man, a real man to a real woman. Yes, and that's interesting because everything starts in the spirit world, and we have to be careful what we feed our spirit. We really do have to be careful. And that spirit from that pornography and stuff, I think he said he started watching it really when he was like 15 years old. And that's when he started smoking, and he's suffering from breathing problems and all of that. It became such a part of him, and it grew up in him, and it became stronger and stronger and stronger, you know. And it was just part of him. He didn't even think that it was wrong, you know, for him to be that obsessed with it. But that spirit became a stronghold in his life. And that's his spirit wife. That's his real wife right there, that imagination, because Satan loves to use images and try to give these images, these false images, life. And the life that he tries to give them starts with imagination in our minds until we honestly believe that this is the real deal. And that's why he was impotent. He just could not. He had 1 child, only one. And he said one of his wives left him because he couldn't give her a baby. He couldn't get it up enough to give her a baby. Yeah, that's what happens. And we're going to go on with part 2. Okay?